legendary high school coach, Larry Veronica.
Consider Larry Veronica's career accomplishments as a high school head coach. Success in 5 sports, 3 All-Americans in 3 different sports, and a 150-4 record as a head track coach. Through it all, he remained humble while keeping the best interests of his student athletes as his top priority. In 1994, when the Buffalo School District could not afford to purchase varsity letters, Coach Veronica used his own funds to make sure his athletes were justly rewarded for their efforts. A star athlete at Cleveland Hill, Larry competed in track and field, cross country, and wrestling at the University at Buffalo, one of the final 3 sport athletes in UB history. He began his coaching career at Bennett High School in 1971. As the basketball coach for the Tigers, Larry posted 303 victories over 25 years, winning 8 Section 6 championships and appearing in 3 state title games. His prize pupils included fellow Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame inductee and All-American Curtis Aiken, Trevor Ruffin, who advanced to play in the NBA, and Vori Billups, a preseason All-American. Larry twice earned Western New York Basketball Coach of the Year kudos. Larry was part of the Bennett football program from 1971 to 1996, both as an assistant and the head mentor. His 1985 Tiger squad were co-champions of the Harvard Cup. That team went undefeated and only allowed 20 points in 9 games. In addition to the sterling record with the men's track team, he also guided the women's team to a 31-1 mark over 4 years. The Bennett men's teams went undefeated over an 18-year span and set several Section 6 records, many of which still stand today. All-American Lamar Smith owns a pair of those standards. 3 of Veronica's runners were invited to the U.S. Olympic trials. Larry also coached tennis for 11 years, where he tutored All-American Ross Nwachukwu, who became the first Western New York player ever to win a medal at the New York State Intersectional Championships. Larry is a member of the Harvard Cup Hall of Fame and the Bennett Sports Hall of Fame. Larry Veronica, forever enshrined in the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame.
Sponsoring Larry Veronica is the Empire State Legacy Fund, represented by Leo Kaminsky and Larry's son, Mark. Larry Veronica.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for the presentation, and I want to thank the committee, not only for picking me, but for picking me while I'm still in the more or less upright position so I can appreciate it. I was watching a very complimentary video, which I saw for the first time like you. I didn't know it was going to be on there, but as I was watching it, I started thinking, I must admit, that gee, maybe my mother was right. I don't know. I guess you have to be the son of an Italian mother to appreciate that. Anyway, I did my serious thoughts. I put them down on paper, and you'll see them in the program under the thank you page. I refer you to that. But after this next comment, I'll try not to be serious about anything. I want to dedicate this award to all the great high school coaches out there, both past and present, that had the accomplishment and had the know-how and everything else it took, but for some, the reality of the situation is all of them will never be up here, but they certainly are great enough coaches that they should be. And I just want to say tonight, gentlemen, this award is for you. Remember you. Now, I want to take just a moment of my allotted time. It's ticking down like a time bomb right in front of me. Plus, I got to get this back to Marty's in Williamsville in a hurry. But anyway, I want to take a moment to introduce my family. My lovely wife, Josephine, of 49 years plus. My son's Mark, also answers to doctor up here on stage, and his wife, Debbie. My son, Michael, and his wife, Kathleen. My son Ricky, and my daughter Marisa Ward, and her husband Chris, and my sister Elaine, my only sibling. So thank you for coming. Okay, now I just want to give you a little insight as to some of the stories, what it's like coaching in the city, especially with no assistant coaches in football, one assistant. But for example, we had a football team one year that wasn't very good. We had a lot of problems getting them to do anything at the same time. We could not snap the ball on the count of 2. So one day the head coach and I decided, let's dedicate a practice to this and let's see if we can change this culture a little bit. So we made a big spiel, the coach made a big spiel about going on 2 and paying attention, this and that. And he announced to the whole squad, this play is on 2, you got it? I think I can get all of you to do that. We couldn't get this spot. So anyway, the quarterback comes up to the line, calls the signals, ready, set, hut. And on the first hut, somebody jumped offside, the right tackle. Remember this very well. As soon as he jumped offside, the guy next to him, the right guard, goes over and slaps him in the helmet and calls him a few choice names. Now, I can't repeat what he called them, but in a few short words, he impugned his intelligence, his sexual preference, and a very close relative. So anyway, we go back and we try it again. Coach goes into a spiel again. We call a signal again. Ready, set, hut. Someone else jumps offside. Who was it? It's the guy that just slapped the other guy in the head. So I turned to Coach Berkman and said, maybe we should just go on 1. It's a pretty good number. Another true story, again, you can't make this stuff up. I can keep you here all night with these stories, by the way. 26 years, 3 sports, there's a lot of stories. March 1st, 1984. Had a good basketball team, maybe the best I ever had. Just came back off winning the Yale Cup. We're in the sectionals. We're playing our crosstown rival, Kensington, 1.5 miles away. We're playing them out in Orchard Park High School. And I always try to drum into the kids, you gotta be responsible. You gotta be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. If I tell you the bus is leaving at a certain time and you're not there, I'll assume you have a ride from a friend or relative and we're going without you. So anyway, we're waiting for everybody to come up. Remember, I got a good team. They lost 1 game in all the Yale Cup season. And when it came time to leave, I gathered everybody on the bus. Their friends are coming and going in the parking lot. So I gathered the team on the bus. I looked around, my 2 stars are missing. My 2 co-captains, Vori and Junie. Some of you know who I'm talking about. So I asked the team, I says, where's Vori and Junie? Silence. So I says, well, we're gonna leave. And some kid says, they went to the store. Went to the store? We're about to go to the biggest game in their life. What do you mean they went to the store? Where did they go? No one would talk. Silence, not a peep on that bus. So I says, they got 60 seconds to get here or we're going without them. So I sat down in the front and I'm looking all over hoping they appear from somewhere. 3 minutes later, I stood up and said, their 60 seconds is over. We're going without them. So off the bus goes, down the parking lot out of Bennett High School, turns left on Main Street, heading toward the 198. And in this thank you page, you'll see I had divine help throughout my career. We get down to Main and Fillmore. The light turns yellow and red, the bus stops. I'm sweating. We'll never win this game. Kensington's very good. We'll never beat them without these 2 guys. I'm wondering, what am I going to do? Who's going to play in their place? I turn around, and who's coming out of the store in the corner? There's a building in Main and Fillmore facing the corner, the door. My 2 stars. A large with cheese and pepperoni. I jumped up and told the bus driver, open this door. He opened the door. I stood with 1 foot on the step, 1 on the street, and I'm hollering at these guys, get on this bus. Do you know how close you came to missing this game? And don't you know a hungry tiger fights best? You don't eat before a game. And I'm up and down them all the way onto the bus and into the back. So finally the bus goes. I got to fast forward now. I didn't even get any pizza, by the way. The bus goes and we get to Orchard Park. We barely got by Kensington. 3 points at halftime, a 6-point win. We went on to win the Section 6 title. We beat the Rochester representative. We went to Brockport and played the Syracuse representative, #1 team in the state. Fowler High School, 24 wins, no losses. 6'11" recruit to the Big East to Providence. Another All-American went somewhere in Missouri, a kid named Curtis Taylor. Anyway, we got lucky, somehow beat them by 9 points. Went on to Glens Falls, beat the public school championship from the east part of the state. Champion, and then we beat the private school champion, Holy Cross from Queens, to win the overall Federation title. 23 or 24 wins and 2 losses for the season. And on the way home on the bus, I'm just thinking back. If that light hadn't turned yellow on Fillmore and Main, this never would have happened. That's the truth. That's absolutely the truth. Just one last thing. Like I said, I got a dozen of these, but I can't do them all. Wrong Way Bruce. Good football player. Good, I'll call him Bruce because that's his name. Bruce was a good tailback for us, a tough little kid. I really liked him, but I noticed in the game, all the players are going right, Bruce is over here. I'm thinking, what the hell is he doing over here? Unless it's a great fake he pulled or something. I watch the next play, all the kids are over here, 11, 10 kids here, one kid. So I said, we'll address this in practice. So the next practice, when we got to the scrimmage toward the end of the practice, I went in a huddle, and I said, we're going to do a sweep right on one. And I turned and looked Bruce right in the face, right here, face, sweep right on one. Quarterback goes up, hikes the ball, 10 guys go right, Bruce goes left. Now I jump up, damn you Bruce, I was right there in the huddle, I looked you right in the eye and I told you to sweep right and you run left. And he shot right back at me. He says, when we were in the huddle, that was the right. So now I figured out it was my fault. I had an open huddle with 10 guys blocking the view of the defense from the quarterback. So I said, huddle up. I said, now turn this huddle around. You 10 guys face the ball. Quarterback, you turn your back to the ball. Now I figure I only got to worry about one guy instead of 10. So that worked out pretty good. Well, anyway, you better get the hook once I get started here. I just want to say thank all of you for coming. We appreciate it. This is a great turnout, and congratulations publicly to all my fellow inductees from 2014. If you want to hear some more stories, I'll see you later. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we open the bar, you might get a few more stories out of Larry a little bit later on. I can't help but wonder, Jim Richard, did he steal that snap count story from you? Because that sounds like something Fred Smirlis would do, right? Congratulations to Larry Veronica.